Jake is a very rich guy. He lives in a mansion with a gardener, a cook, and a housemaid. One day he goes on a business trip and returns 2 days later. Oh no! Someone put a huge coffee stain on his exclusive white sofa. Jake gets furious and interrogates his staff. The housemaid says, "Yesterday I had a day off, so I spent it outside the mansion. As for today, I cleaned the living room first, and then I focused on the bathrooms, and the sofa was fine." The gardener says,
"Yesterday, new plants were delivered. I was very busy planting 6 palm trees in front of the house, so I didn't have the chance to chill indoors."
And the cook says, "I was trying new recipes in the kitchen and filming vlogs for my subscribers. I never hang out in your living room, sir." Who's lying? It's the gardener. There's no palms in front of Jake's mansion. Jake goes hiking alone. He's in the middle of a dark forest. Suddenly, a witch appears in front of him. She casts a spell and teleports Jake to her cabin. The witch offers him a deal.
"The only chance to escape is to drink one of my 3 potions. If you guess it right, you're free to go. If not, you'll be my prisoner forever."
Can you figure out which potion Jake should drink? Take a closer look at the emojis that imply the potion ingredients. If we write out the first letters of each ingredient, we'll get sleep, escape, and blind. So, Jake should pick the second potion. Jake drinks the potion and teleports to a desert island. There's only 1 coconut tree and 1 banana tree, but Jake can only eat from one of them. Which tree should he choose? The coconut tree. It can provide both food and water, while the banana tree only provides food. Thankfully, Jake sees a boat passing by. It's filled with people. Jake rubs his eyes and takes a look again. The boat is still there, but Jake doesn't see a single person on it. Why? Because all the people are married. The boat takes Jake to the nearest town. There are 4 people standing on the pier. One of them is a cop working undercover. Can you guess who? It's this guy in a sports suit. There are cuffs sticking out of his pocket. Jake is walking down a black street. He's wearing all black. Black shoes, socks, trousers, coat, gloves, and balaclava. All the street lamps are off. A black car is coming towards Jake, and its headlights are turned off. How did the driver see Jake? It's daytime. Jake is starving, so he decides to go check out the local bakery and purchase some snacks. The price for 1 cherry donut is 50 cents, and 1 apple donut costs $2. They also have lemon donuts. The price is $1.50 per item. Can you calculate the price for 1 blueberry donut? To solve this mystery, we should remember the color sequence in the rainbow. The price increases by 50 cents from red to purple. So the price for 1 purple donut is $3.50. Jake's mother wants him to get married as soon as possible. That's why she arranges a blind date for him. The lady's name is Karen. Today, they're meeting for lunch. This is the first time Jake and Karen are going to meet in person. And they haven't seen any pictures of each other. Karen texts Jake, "I'll wear gold hoop earrings." Jake arrives at the restaurant. There are 3 ladies. All of them are wearing gold hoops. Can you help Jake find his Karen? Let's take a look at the second table. There are 2 dinner servings and cutlery for 2 people. This lady is already with someone. The third lady has already drunk half of her milkshake, and she's busy working on her laptop. She's not here for a date, so Karen is the first lady. The next morning, Jake arrives at his office. There's a huge gift box on his desk. The sender is unknown. Only 3 people are in the office today: Mia, Prudence, and Paul. Jake questions them. Mia says, "I was preparing and printing some documents for you. We have a great business deal to sign." Paul says, "My alarm didn't work today. I overslept and just arrived. I don't know who brought the gift." And Prudence says, "I don't know who did it. I was trying to fix the printer, but it won't work. Someone broke it yesterday." Who's lying? Mia printed the documents for Jake this morning, and she's holding them in her hands. Therefore, Prudence is lying. Jake takes 2 pictures of his office room. Take your time and try to spot 10 differences between them. Ready to see the answer? Here they are. He's in the middle of a creepy abandoned village in the woods. It starts raining heavily. Jake finds an old cabin and hides inside it. Jake wanders around for a while and finds 3 doors leading outside. But each path hides some dangers. There's a huge fire behind the first door. There are wild animals waiting behind the second door. And the third passage is filled with toxic gas. Humans can't survive after breathing it in. Can you help Jake choose the right door? The first one. It's been raining heavily in the woods, and the door's leading outside the house, so the fire was gone a long time ago. Jake checks the maps. Karen's place is nearby, so he decides to walk. On the way, he finds 3 bushes with different herbs. Yay! I can collect some of them to put in tea! But only one of these herbs is actually safe. Can you guess which one? The first herb caused a rash on Jake's hand, and the third one looks pretty stinky. So he should take the second one. Finally, Jake arrives at Karen's house. She shows him around. Can you spot 3 emojis hidden in her living room? Here they are. Then, Jake goes to the bathroom to wash his hands. Can you find 3 hidden emojis here? Hello! And finally, Jake lands in the kitchen. There are 3 emojis here. Can you see them? There you go. Karen is cooking dinner. She asks Jake to go to the storage room to get one last ingredient. But instead of saying directly, she gives him this weird shopping list. Can you help Jake figure out the ingredient? The number implies the letter we should pick out of each word. The encrypted word is pepper. And now let's take a look at the color of the note. It's written with a red marker. Therefore, Jake needs to get a red pepper. Karen picks some flowers in her garden and puts them in a vase on her table. Can you find the correct shadow? The third one. What about this necklace? Can you spot the correct shadow? The first one is the perfect match. Let's see if you can find a shadow that belongs to this book. The fourth option is correct. Jake turns on the TV news. Airport security guards got an urgent report. One of the passengers came back to the country with a stolen ancient treasure from Paris. The guards initiated a check. The mysterious passenger blended into the crowd, but they managed to find 4 suspects. Jake spots the thief right away. What about you? All we know about the thief is that he arrived from Paris. Therefore, the stickers on the suitcase can be helpful. Several guys have stickers with Paris, but take a look at this guy's suitcase. The Parisian sticker is on top of the others, so he's the thief. One of these people has recently escaped from prison. Can you guess who? This guy. He's using his prison suit instead of a beach blanket. What about this picture? Can you spot a runaway criminal? Take a look at the third fitting room. Busted! Nick parks his car next to his favorite supermarket. Can you see anything odd here? The car reflection in the window doesn't match reality. The car model is different. Monica works at the city library. She arrives at work after the lunch break and finds out that someone broke the locker in her office room and stole the most expensive antique novel book. She interrogates 4 suspects. Lauren says, "I spent the whole morning in the library getting ready for the upcoming test. I don't have time to talk to you." Nick says, "I only came here to purchase some coffee in your vending machine. The local vanilla latte is my favorite." Jeff says, "I've been looking through the books in the poetry section. I didn't touch any other books." And finally, Crystal says,
"I've recently met a special guy online. Today we're having our first date and agreed to meet here, but he's a bit late."
Who's lying? Nick, this vending machine doesn't have a vanilla latte or any other coffee. A couple of old friends are chilling on the beach, but there are 2 mistakes in this picture. Can you see them? The table lacks a leg, and these glasses are missing 1 lens. What about this picture? Can you spot 2 mistakes? The price tag doesn't have a price, and this fork is not okay. One of these ladies is a real mermaid. Can you guess who? The lady on the right. She has scales on her skin. Melanie is a famous supermodel. One day she was found unconscious in the dressing room right before her photo shoot. The police arrive at the studio, examine the room, and soon identify 3 suspects. Amy, a photographer, says,
"Why would I attack Melanie? We're having another photo shoot next week."
Kim, the costume designer, says,
"She's been like my best friend forever. She even gave me this job."
And Mike, Melanie's boyfriend, said, "We quarreled yesterday, but we'd already made up." The police examine the crime scene and guess who the criminal is right away. What about you? Kim dropped the needle on the floor near Melanie. She was probably jealous of her bestie's success. There are 10 people in a room. Each person can see the entire room and everyone else. Your task is to place an apple so all but one person can see it. Where would you place an apple in the room? Place an apple on anyone's head. 3 women have been kidnapped in town one by one. The police try their best to find and rescue them, but soon one more lady was kidnapped. The detective gets a call from a stranger. She says, "I've just seen my neighbor Victor with a lady looking like the missing lady on the news." The detective comes to Victor's house with a warrant. "What's the matter?" The detective looks around the apartment and arrests Victor right away. Why? Take a look at this shelf. The doll's hair matches the kidnapped women perfectly. Victor cut the lady's hair to make the dolls. Ugh, creepy. Xavier is driving to another state. He gets tired and decides to book a room in a motel to get some sleep. The manager says that he can choose one of 4 available rooms. Can you help Xavier find the best option? A creepy scorpion is crawling under the sofa in the first room. As for the second room, there's black mold on the ceiling. A rat is hiding in the fan in the third room. Therefore, Xavier should choose the 4th option. Mary, Tim, and Paul meet up after summer break. They're all very excited and ready to tell each other about their epic adventures. Mary says, "I climbed the biggest mountain in the country and I made it to the top." Tim says, "I went to my granny's farm. I learned to ride a horse and rode around all summer." And Paul says, "Well, I went to Africa. I'll never forget it. A huge volcano erupted. We flew out that same day." Tim and Mary didn't believe Paul's story. Why not? He couldn't fly away on the same day. Everyone knows that all flights get canceled when a volcano erupts. 2 guys got kidnapped. It was all over social media. This happened a few months ago. Detective Green investigates this case. After months of looking, he's finally onto something. He found the criminal's house. He goes to the basement and finds 3 guys all tied up. Green realizes the kidnapper is pretending to be one of the hostages. Who's the criminal? It's this guy. He has a clean-shaved face. If he'd been tied up for a few months, he should have had a full beard by now. Kelly and Sally are hiking in the woods. Suddenly, a zombie pops out of the bushes and starts chasing them. Sally takes her backpack off and begins to run. Why? It'll be easier for her to outrun Kelly. The zombie will catch Kelly. Meanwhile, Sally will have the time to escape. Best friend of the year, Sally. Wicked witches walk around the city and mess with ordinary people. Each witch has her own magic power, so it's impossible to defeat all the witches at the same time. A scientist finally prepares some potions for blindness, silence, weakness, invisibility, and a slowing down potion. But now he needs to understand which potion he should use against each witch. The first witch is able to fly on a broom at the speed of light. The second witch's gaze turns everyone into stone. The third one can make any person do what she says. The fourth makes everyone who looks at her fall asleep for 100 years. And the fifth witch can travel in time when she raises her wand up. Can you choose the right potion for each witch? The second witch will not be able to turn everyone to stone if she goes blind. Invisibility must be given to the fourth witch. The first one needs a slowing potion. The weakness potion is for the fifth witch. And the silence potion must be given to the third witch so that she cannot hypnotize people with her voice. Charlotte has just bought her dream mansion with a huge antique crystal chandelier in the hall. She throws a party for her friends. Everything goes well, but suddenly the lights turn off for 30 seconds. Everyone hears loud noises from the hall. When the power is back again, Charlotte goes to check and sees that the chandelier has crashed to the floor. Charlotte questions 3 suspects. Pam says, "I was eating snacks in the dining room. My friends can verify my words." Kenny says, "I was playing the guitar in the library when the lights turned off." And Stuart says,
I'd been in the toilet the whole time. I should have stayed away from the shrimps, you know.
"Who's lying?" Kenny. He said he'd been playing the guitar, but it has no strings. Polly wants to open a beauty salon. She asks her agent to find a nice place. The agent offers 4 properties, but only one of them is trustworthy. Can you help Polly make the right choice? According to the description, the first building will be finished in 3023, but Polly needs to open her business in this century. The third house looks pretty chic, but the walls are eaten by termites. And there's a huge and stinky garbage dump just next to the 4th property. So, Polly should pick the second option. Preparing his will when he came up with an idea. He would leave his fortune to the son that could crack this riddle. He told his 3 sons to buy something that could fill the entire living room. So the first son went to the market and bought many packages of straw. But when he tested it, there weren't enough to fill the entire living room. The second son bought sticks, but they also weren't able to fill the whole room. The last son bought 2 items that were finally able to fill in the room. Can you guess what it was? He bought a candle and a box of matches. He waited until it was nighttime, lit the candle, and voila! It filled the entire room. Smart thinking, huh? Sarah is a very beautiful woman, and 2 men are in love with her. One is a doctor, and the other is a florist. The florist needs to go on a trip for a week. But before he left, he gave Sarah 7 apples. Can you guess why he did that? I guess he believed that in popular sayings, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. Katie was invited for a picnic in the forest with her best friends. As soon as she arrived at the place, she didn't see any of her friends. Instead, she saw a large group of people standing in a wide clearing. Apparently, she had gone to the wrong location. But right before she left, she noticed that one of these people was a robot. Can you spot who it was? That guy is charging his phone through a cable connected to his leg. Who knew being a robot had its perks? Robert found a gold lamp in his mother's attic. He rubbed the lamp and a genie came out of it. The genie said he would grant Robert 1 wish and asked what he wanted to wish for. Robert went downstairs to consult with his family. His wife wanted to have children. His father wanted to be rich. And his mother wanted to have perfect eyesight again. The genie granted Robert his 1 wish, but all of Robert's family members got what they wanted. What did Robert wish for? He wished for his mother to clearly see her granddaughter swinging on a swing of gold. Smart, huh? Annie was locked inside a room with 4 doors. She could see there were different kinds of dangerous creatures hidden behind each door. On the first door, there was a vampire. On the second door, there was a zombie. On the third door, there was a mummy. And on the last door, there was a werewolf. One of the doors would open in 1 minute, but Annie didn't know which one. She had 3 different items she could use to protect herself. an axe, a torch, or an aspen stake. She needed to choose one that would help her fight any of the monsters. Which ones should she choose? Her best option would be to choose the torch. The torch's fire can scare off any of the creatures and protect Annie. Dr. O'Brien invented a time machine and traveled all the way back to prehistoric times. Take a look at this picture and see if you can spot Dr. O'Brien amongst the other prehistoric people carrying out their activities. That's easy. It's the guy with the flashlight. He must have taken one with him when he time traveled. Sarah was window shopping in her town's local mall when she saw her husband Tom inside one of the clothing stores. She got confused because he was supposed to be at work, so she went inside to confront him. "What are you doing here?" she asked him angrily. Tom said he was picking out an outfit for his company's end-of-the-year party. Sarah immediately shouted that he was a liar and that he was cheating on her. How did Sarah know? Look at the fitting room. Sarah could see the woman hiding behind the curtains. And also, look! Tom has a lipstick stain on his polo shirt. In a kingdom far, far away lived an old lonesome king. The king was worried because he had no heirs to his throne. One day, he came up with an idea. He decided to give each child in his kingdom a seed and promised to make the child who grew the most beautiful plant his heir. 3 months later, thousands of children came to the palace. All of them had amazingly tall and green plants in their hands, but one girl had an empty pot. And yet, she was the one who the king chose to be the future queen. What made him do so? It turned out that the king had given the children fake seeds. The girl turned out to be the only honest child. Sam is a truck driver going from the Sunshine State all the way up north. Driving through a small town, he comes across a very low bridge he can't seem to pass under. The truck is 1 inch higher than the bottom of the bridge, but this is the only road for him to reach his destination. What can Sam do to get through the underpass? He can let enough air out of the tires so that the truck will reach the exact height it needs to go under the bridge. Genius! When Anna got to school, she noticed that her friend Joan was very upset. It was just the beginning of the day, but someone had already stolen her backpack. Anna started her own investigation. Jenna from the robotics lab said she'd been fixing a robot that morning. Kate from the cheerleading squad had just begun practice. And James said he had spent 3 hours trying to solve a math problem and was exhausted. Anna knew right away who had taken the backpack. Can you figure it out? It's James. The school day had just started. How could he have been there for 3 hours already? Sarah was in her hotel room when she heard a knock on the door. When she looked through the peephole, she saw a man standing outside. "Sorry for bothering you. I'm the hotel manager," he said. "Our database crashed and I need to recheck some information." Sarah said she would be back in a moment, got away from the door, and called security. She said there was someone in the hotel trying to rob her. How did she know? Look at the man's name tag. It's a female name. He's surely not the real hotel manager. There were 3 thefts at a local supermarket, one in February, one in May, and one in July. Thankfully, the security camera recorded footage of all 3 happenings. The store manager called Detective Moore to solve the crime. The detective noticed one detail that helped him solve the mystery. Take a look at the images Detective Moore saw and see if you can also tell who the thief was. In all 3 videos, there's a pregnant lady. In the video from February, she looks about 7 months pregnant, but in the other videos from May and July, her belly looks exactly the same. This means that she was the thief. She must have been faking the pregnancy all along. On a rainy Saturday night, John and Katie decided to stay in, order pizza, and watch the Riddle channel on their TV. On the screen, there were 2 women. The first one was stuck inside a cage hanging above an ocean filled with sharks. The other woman was tied to a rope above a lake of piranhas. Both ropes were about to break. Who had the best chance of surviving? It's lady number 2. The first lady is stuck inside a cage, so she has no way of escaping. If she falls into the water, she will most likely not survive. But lady number 2 has both hands free, so she can try to climb the rope back up before it rips. Detective Brightbrain was sitting in his office when his phone rang. Richard Brooks, a jeweler, said he had just been robbed. Brightbrain arrived immediately at the boutique, and Mr. Brooks explained what happened.
I spent the entire morning showing diamond rings to a gentleman in a gray suit. He was extremely polite and knew a lot about diamonds. When I looked down to grab the store's most expensive ring, I felt someone hit me on the head. I fell forward, and when I woke up, the guy was gone.
Brightbrain didn't ask any more questions. Instead, he wrote a report saying Mr. Brooks wasn't robbed. He was actually faking the whole thing. Take a look at the scene. How did Brightbrain come to that conclusion? If Mr. Brooks fell forward, the weight of his body would have broken the glass counter in front of him. And look, there's not even a scratch. The next day, Brightbrain was driving to work when he got hit by a red Chevrolet. The guy got away pretty fast, but the detective managed to see the car's license plate began with 62. Back at the office, Brightbrain tracked down the possible owner of the vehicle, Mr. Neander. The detective arrived at Mr. Neander's house together with the police and immediately saw a red Chevrolet with a 62 license plate in the yard, but there weren't any signs of a collision. Brightbrain interrogated the subject, but Mr. Neander said,
I swear it wasn't me. I haven't left the house in 2 days, and I can't use my car because I lost the keys a week ago.
Brightbrain approached the vehicle and leaned on the hood of the car to peep inside. He immediately said, I know you're lying. How was Brightbrain so sure? The detective tried the simplest way to detect whether a car had been recently used. He checked the temperature of the motor. As the hood was still warm, this showed that Mr. Neander was lying. During the month of December, a gang of robbers was operating in Bentonville. They walked dressed up as Santa Claus and broke into houses through chimneys. They put valuable goods into their Santa bags and walked straight out the door. When the neighbors saw them, they thought they were the real Santa. Finally, the police caught the entire gang. However, one of them claimed he was the real Santa and shouldn't be convicted for crimes he didn't commit. Detective Brightbrain was called to handle the case because he had seen the real Santa once when he was still a little child. He recalled that Santa was medium height. He was wearing a coat with 6 buttons, and there was a pocket on the right. He also said that Santa's belt buckle was square. Take a look at the footage from the police station. Can you figure out who the real Santa is? It's the second one on the right. He fits all of Brightbrain's descriptions. It was raining when Brightbrain decided to drive down to the gym. Halfway there, a woman stopped his car asking for help. She said someone had just bumped into her car and drove away. When the detective took a look around, the only person next to the place of the incident was a man fixing his tire. The lady said that was the car that bumped into hers. But when Brightbrain went to talk to the man, he said it couldn't be true because he was busy fixing his car the whole time. Can you tell who's lying? It's the guy fixing his car. The rain just recently started, which means that if he was fixing his car the whole time, the ground underneath it would have been dry. But look, it's wet. This means he's just arrived there and was actually the one responsible for the incident. The next day, Brightbrain left his girlfriend's house directly to his office building. He was late for work, so he ignored several stop signs along the way. A police car passed by him exactly at the moment he was turning the wrong way onto a one-way street, but the officers didn't arrest him. Why? Because the detective was walking, not driving a car. Duh! Around 8 in the morning the next day, Detective Brightbrain was on his way to get coffee when he saw a robbery happen. A masked person ran off with a woman's wallet. The detective ran after the thief and saw him entering a coffee shop. When Brightbrain went inside, he searched for the thief, but couldn't find them. The person had taken their mask off. He told the coffee shop owner that one of their clients was a thief, and the owner closed down the shop so that the detective could question the people there. The first person he interrogated was Allie. She said she had been in the coffee shop for the last 3 hours, working on her laptop. Brian said he had just come inside to get an espresso to go. Catherine said she had just started eating her breakfast and didn't see anything suspicious going on. Lastly, he interrogated John, the coffee shop owner. He said he opened the shop at 7 a.m. and hadn't left the place since then. Brightbrain knew immediately who had done it. Can you guess who it was? It was Allie. She said she'd been in the shop for the past 3 hours, but the shop had just opened at 7 o'clock. At his office, Brightbrain received a strange text message from his workmate, Harry. The text said, "Zucchini is in the fridge. Otherwise, I'm fine. Okay?" The weird text made the detective think there was a message hidden inside. After a few minutes, he found a hidden word in the message. Can you guess what it was? If you pay attention closely, the first letter of each line can be mixed together to form the word zoo. Quickly, Brightbrain grabbed his things and drove to the local zoo. He arrived at the zoo and immediately saw the entrance to a secret passageway. The passageway led him to a network of underground tunnels. At the entrance to the first tunnel, there were venomous rats. At the entrance to the second tunnel, there was an explosive about to go off in 5 minutes. And at the entrance to the last tunnel, there was toxic gas. Which tunnel should he choose? The second one, of course. He can pass through the tunnel after the explosive goes off. At the end of the tunnel, he found himself in a dark room. As soon as he entered, the door locked behind him and he was stuck. The room was empty except for another door at the other end of the room. That door was sealed with a letter combination lock. There was a slip of paper with the following hint written on it: P plus 3, N minus 1, B minus 1, N plus 4, S plus 1. What's the code word? It took Brightbrain a while to figure it out, but he was able to crack the code. The code word was SMART. The key to this riddle was hidden in the alphabet. P plus its 3 following letters is S. N minus 1 letter is M, and so on. Phew, the door opened and led him to another room where he finally met Harry. Brightbrain untied his workmate and told him he was going to get them out of that situation. But when he looked around, he noticed they were standing at the bottom of a very deep well. Looking up, they could see the clear blue sky, but it looked like there was no way out. The detective felt soil falling onto their heads, and he feared they were going to be buried in mud. Luckily, in an hour, both men made it out of the well alive. How did they manage to get out? They managed to tamp down the soil that was falling into the well. This way, they would get closer and closer to the surface until they managed to jump out and run away. That's it for Bright Brain's adventure today. That was a lot.
Molly invites her best friends over for dinner. Rose, Bianca, Tom, and Stan. Everything goes great. But in the middle of the night, Molly notices that one of her books is missing. This item is very special. Molly hides all her cash in this book, and she has never told anyone about it. Molly questions her friends, but each swears to have nothing to do with the theft. Can you help Molly spot the thief? It's Tom. He's sitting on the stolen book. Detective Tina has received multiple cyber fraud reports this week. People complain that all the money went missing from their bank accounts. Detective Tina heads out to investigate this case. She meets with 3 robbed witnesses and asks them to show her their phones. She expects to find some kind of bug or an app. What do they have in common? All of them have the same app. Bella is visiting India. She leaves her bags in the hotel and goes to explore the local market. Suddenly, a stranger approaches her and offers to buy some gifts. "Madame, I inherited these treasures from my ancestors. They're thousands of years old." Bella gets very excited. She loves rare souvenirs. Bella studies these items carefully and gets furious. "You're a fraud!" How did she know? Take a look at this statue. He's wearing headphones. This golden dish has an engraving, made in 2002, so it can't be thousands of years old either. And now, take a closer look at the necklace. It consists of US 1-cent coins. Back then, no one knew what they looked like. Chelsea is riding a scooter in her favorite park. Suddenly, someone throws an apple at her back and she falls. Chelsea looks around and finds 3 suspects. She decides to question them. Glenda says, "I was just feeding this cute little squirrel and taking pictures." Brittany says, "I just sunbathed on the grass and read a book. I didn't even look your way." And Sergey says, "I filmed a podcast for my followers, so I didn't look around. Maybe the apple just fell from this tree by accident." One of them is guilty. Can you guess who? Chelsea got hit by a red apple with a yellow price tag. But the apple tree, mentioned by Sergey, only has green apples. Meanwhile, Brittany has a bunch of red apples in her bag, and they have similar yellow tags. Uh-oh, busted. Will goes to the restaurant with his friends, Mike, Crystal, and Alex. He orders his favorite cheesecake. He grabs and eats 1 strawberry from the top of the cake and then remembers, "Oh no, I didn't wash my hands. Can you guys please look after my dessert?" After a while, he returns and finds out that his plate is missing. Will questions his friends. Mike says, "Sorry, I received an urgent call from work and went outside." Crystal said, "Your cake looks so delicious that I ordered my own. I didn't see what happened because I also went to wash my hands." And Alex says, "Sorry, I left the table to get this lady's number. I think she's my soulmate." Who took Will's cake? Take a look at Crystal's plate. The very same strawberry that Will took from his cake is missing. So it's probably his dessert and Crystal is a liar. Someone drew a pentagram on the floor in the principal's office. Can you guess who tried to curse him? It's the janitor. There's a paint stain on his uniform, and similar symbols can be found on his cap. A pop group is traveling by high-speed train. They're going to a big concert in another country. Everything is going great, but suddenly the lights go out. Someone's moving around in the dark, and everyone hears a woman screaming. Finally, the lights turn on again, but one of the singers, Kelly, is missing. The local conductor finds her phone on the floor and questions the witnesses. Jill says, "I was at the other end of the car, and then it got so dark. I don't know what happened." Sam says, "Kelly was next to me. We talked, and then she disappeared." And Paul says, "I felt sick, so I sat down and closed my eyes. I heard something, but I didn't see anything." Who's lying? Jill. She said she was at the other end of the car. Then why is her hair clip lying at the crime scene? Can you find 10 differences between these two pictures? Ready to see the answers? Here they are. What about these cute little plants? Can you see 10 differences between the two pictures? Time is up. I'll bet you failed to spot all 10. Here they are. What about these two images? Can you find 10 differences? Let's take a look at the answer. The police have long tracked Jake. They suspect him to be involved in diamond smuggling, but they don't have any evidence. They decide to thoroughly check his luggage. Jake comes to the airport with a small briefcase. What's suspicious about it? He uses an electric razor. Why does he need any shaving cream? The diamonds must be inside the tube. Billy takes his family to a safari park. Can you spot anything odd? Giraffes don't have horns, and lions don't wear glasses. What about this picture? Can you see what's wrong here? This flamingo is wearing fancy shoes, and the elephant has 5 legs. Oh my. Can you find the fastest tap by eye? The second one. Let's make the task a little harder. Here's a new set of taps. Can you guess the fastest? The first one. Which runner will score the goal? Only the third runner can make it to the final point. Here's the route he should choose. Can you find these 5 items in this picture? Here they are. What about this huge pile of things? Can you dig out these 5 items? Ready to see the answer? Over here. Can you find the right piece? Only the second one fits perfectly. Rob's wife decides to prank him and changes a 6-number password on their safe. She leaves a clue so that Rob could crack the code. Can you help him? Take a closer look at the hint. There's an alphabet with 4 marked letters, but we know that the password consists of 6 numbers. To crack the code, we need to count each letter's position in the alphabet. A implies 1, E 5, J 10, and M 13. So the final code is 151013. Tilda is cooking a love potion. She found a recipe in an old spell book. But unfortunately, the last 3 ingredients are encoded. Here's a hint to crack the first one. I can sometimes be a stick, but I don't come from a tree. I can be spread on your toast. I'm a product that's dairy. Any idea what it could be? Butter. Or as they say in Brooklyn, butter. Here's a hint for a second ingredient. I can be small, I can be huge, and very hard to snatch. Carve me out, put in a candle, and light it with a match. What is it? It's a pumpkin. Hey, even I got that one. And now let's try to decode the last ingredient. This thing comes as a small grain, but it's neither rice nor sand. It's often used when cooking, so that food doesn't taste bland. What might it be? The last ingredient for Tilda's love potion is NaCl. Oops, I meant salt. Lily gets an invitation to a wedding party. She comes along and sees 3 weird things right away. Can you spot them too? Take a closer look at the bride. There's a zombie hiding under her skirt. Also, there's planet Earth in the sky instead of the moon. And the clock is going counterclockwise. Well, that's all goofed up. Molly is chilling in her bathroom after a long working day. But can you see anything odd here? She's using a burger instead of a regular sponge. You want fries with that? A dog show competition is taking place in the town. A golden retriever named Toby wins gold. But after the contest, a janitor finds Toby lying unconscious backstage. Detective Tina arrives at the crime scene in 15 minutes. She asks the suspects just one question. What were you doing within the last 15 minutes? Harry, the owner of the rival golden retriever, says, I was brushing my dog. I wanted him to shine like a diamond at the contest. Sandra, the local photographer, says, I was taking pictures of the dogs and their owners. Mr. Frank, the judge, says, I was talking to the reporters. And the janitor, Frank, says, I found Toby and called 911 right away. And then I just left him with his owner and went to clean the toilets. Who's lying? Harry. Why would he need to prepare his dog's hair? The contest is over. Lisa breaks her nail and goes to a beauty salon to fix it. There, she meets 3 manicurists. One of them is an imposter. Can you guess who? It's the third lady. She's using a teaspoon instead of the regular manicure tools. Just another ordinary day in the office. But wait a minute. Can you see anything odd? The lamp doesn't have an electric cord. What about this picture? Anything weird? This businessman is holding an artist's brush. Kyle is a policeman. He enters the local public laundromat after work. There, he sees a crying woman. She yells, "Officer, please help me. Someone stole my clothes. It was my favorite suit." Kyle interrogates 3 suspects among the clients. Lisa says, "I spent the last 30 minutes here, but I always watch movies on my tablet while waiting, so I didn't look around." Ryan says, "I just arrived here to wash my own bed sheets. You can check my bags if you don't believe me." And finally, Nina says, "I had a video call with my boyfriend while I was waiting for my laundry to dry. I didn't have the chance to look around." Who's lying? Lisa. Take a closer look. Her tablet is broken and shut down, so she couldn't have been watching a movie. Can you spot any ghosts in this picture? How about over here? What about this area? Can you spot any ghosts? Hello? Peter is a famous travel blogger. He gets an invitation to visit the fanciest secret beach in the world. But the map has a twist. Can you help Peter choose the right route? Only option B will bring him to the final destination.
I feel your brain needs some nice tricky workout. I've got just the thing. Are you ready?
Yeah.
It was raining heavily in the evening. Lauren told her young daughters to go to bed. Sometime later, she went to check on them. As soon as she opened the door to their room, she realized that one of them had sneaked out and returned without her permission. Look at the room and try to figure out which girl it was. It was the girl on the left. Look, both pairs of sneakers are in their place, but the ones on the left are covered with dirt. Alexa has been running at the stadium every day for several months, preparing for upcoming athletic competitions. And they start today. Alexa is warming up when she notices a skinny guy among other runners. His legs look thin and seem to be weak. Alexa feels skeptical about his running abilities. Anyway, they get into the starting position. 3, 2, 1, go! Alexa is running as fast as she can. Suddenly, she notices that the guy she paid attention to earlier is running much faster than her, and he doesn't even look tired. Eventually, he wins. But how did he do it? He's not a real athlete. In fact, he isn't even a human. He doesn't sweat, he doesn't blink, and he has 2 left hands. Yikes. A guy bought a fishing pole that was 6 feet 3 inches long. When he wanted to get on the bus with this fishing pole, the driver stopped him. The man told the guy that he couldn't take anything longer than 6 feet onto the bus. The guy went back into town and bought one more thing, and the driver allowed him on the bus. What did the guy buy, and what did he do with it? The guy bought a 6-foot long box. He put the fishing pole in it diagonally, and the entire package turned out to be only 6 feet long. Julia was angry with her boyfriend. She sent a message to her best friend who lived abroad. In this message, the girl complained about the mistakes the guy had made. But her friend sent her a very strange reply. Give, get, give, get, give, get, give, get. What did Julia's friend mean? She wanted to say that Julia should forgive and forget. Gemma was a mermaid living in the Pacific Ocean. One day she was swimming near the surface when she spotted 2 handsome guys. Both of them seemed to be in trouble. Look at them attentively and try to figure out who Gemma should save first. This wooden boat is indeed filled with water. But it's still okay, and the guy inside can scoop this water out. But this guy's inflatable boat is damaged. He will soon find himself in the water, and this shark will be all too happy to snack on him. He needs Gemma's help urgently. One hotel guest discovered her diamond necklace and earrings were missing after a party in the lobby. Someone must have stolen her jewelry. The hotel management invited a detective. After questioning all guests and staff members, the detective had 3 suspects. Walter, another hotel guest, Alice, a maid, and Alan, a porter. The detective decided to check their rooms. What he saw was enough for him to understand who the thief was. Can you figure it out too? It's Alice. There's an already packed suitcase in her room. She's about to run away with the stolen jewelry. Galaxy Detective Varamcha was on a case. A spaceship was lost. Her partner, Galaxy Junior Detective Brightbulb, gave her a piece of paper. It was the location of the spaceship. This is what the slip had scribbled on it. Juice, umbrella, potato, ice, tomato, elephant, rice. Where do you think the spaceship is? Right, it's on Jupiter. You just need to pay attention to the first letters of these words. Look at these girls. It seems to be a tough competition. But guess what? One of these girls is cheating. Can you figure out who it is? It's the girl on the left. Strangely, she doesn't look tired. Ah, do you see that USB port in her neck? She's a robot. Someone stole the money Adam kept in his safe. After watching the security footage, the police figured out that it had happened at midnight. They questioned 3 suspects. Julia said she'd gone to bed at 10 p.m. and fallen asleep right away. Parker told the detective he'd been watching TV from 11:45 p.m. to 1 a.m. And Aiden said he'd been with his friends, playing computer games all night. The police arrested the thief. Who was it? It was Parker. He was suspiciously specific about the time. Elijah went on a cruise. On the 3rd day, he noticed that one of the staff members was an imposter. Look at them attentively and try to guess who it is. This waitress is actually hiding a police badge under her floral garland. She must be undercover. Samantha needed to check something online, but her phone's battery was flat. She grabbed her brother's device, but it was password protected. Suddenly, a hint appeared on the screen. While I am in the air, I am not in oxygen. I am also in water, but not in hydrogen. I am necessary for all animals, but you won't find me in a zoo. Look in all brains, and you'll find me there too. Can you figure out the password? It's the letter A. Dora went to study for her exam in a coffee shop. She ordered some tea with milk, opened her laptop, and started working. At one point, she went to the bathroom. When she returned, her laptop wouldn't switch on and her cup was empty. Someone had spilled the tea on her computer, causing it to crash. Dora called the manager and told him what had happened. They came up with 3 suspects. The barista said he had been extremely busy and hadn't seen anything. The supervisor said he was sorry the milk tea had spilled on the computer. He also promised to check if the insurance would cover the cost. The second barista was also sorry about her milk tea damaging the computer. He offered Dora to make her another cup while they were waiting for the police to arrive. The manager immediately understood who had ruined Dora's laptop. Have you figured it out? It was the supervisor. He couldn't have known the tea had milk in it. As for the second barista, he knew about the milk because he was the one to prepare Dora's order. Caroline went for a walk in the park, deep in her thoughts. The girl wasn't really looking where she was going. That's why she didn't notice a deep pit in the ground and fell into it. When she came round, she found herself in a strange room. There were no windows, no door. The girl saw a table with 3 apples on it. And was it a note? To get out of this trap, you've got to eat an apple, but only one of them isn't poisoned. Pick carefully. Caroline was terrified. But after examining the apples, she bravely bit into one of them. And nothing bad happened. Which apple did she choose? The girl chose the apple with a worm peeking out of it. If it could eat the fruit, a human probably could too. Detective Adam Bonders worked undercover at a luxurious resort. The police suspected that the hotel owners were involved in some shady deals. Adam's main task was to sneak into the manager's office and check the documents. But the door was locked, and there was a combination lock. Adam had to figure out the password. The detective knew he needed to solve a math riddle, and the answer would be the code. 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 1 plus 1 times 0 plus 1 equals. As soon as he punched in the code, the door opened. What was the correct number? It's 30. There are no mathematical symbols at the end of the first and second lines. It means the whole thing looks like this. 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 11 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 11 plus 1 times 0 plus 1 equals 30. Hey Sherlock, I've got a job for you. Are you ready to polish your analytical skills? Great. Here you go.
Yeah.
Once Lily, a real estate agent, was showing a luxurious apartment to a wealthy family. The family liked everything about the apartment, but for one thing, the place had huge floor-to-ceiling windows, and they were worried someone could accidentally break the glass and fall out. Lily really wanted to sell that expensive apartment. That's why she decided to prove that the glass was unbreakable. She ran up to the window and hit it at full speed. The glass indeed didn't break, but Lily fell out of the window and was rushed to a hospital. How could it happen? The glass didn't break, it simply popped out of its frame. One day, Detective Morris decided to have a walk in the park. In the middle of his stroll, he got a call from his assistant. It turned out that a huge pile of plastic on the outskirts of the city had disappeared overnight. The detective rushed there, and guess what? The information was true. But the most bizarre thing? There were no tire tracks or any other marks around the place. But then, how could the thief transport so much plastic without using a vehicle? Suddenly, Detective Morris noticed some weird footmarks. Can you help the man understand who they belong to? Those are definitely not human footprints. They might belong to an animal or some other creature. The case is getting weirder by the minute. Detective Morris was wandering around the city for hours looking for clues. Soon his assistant informed him about the disappearance of yet another pile of plastic. At the crime scene, the detective found the same footmarks. The expert he had asked to examine the photos and samples replied that the footprints didn't match any other in her extensive database. She even suggested that they could belong to an alien. But why would aliens need our plastic? Morris decided to prevent the next crime. He went to the outskirts of the city again and spotted 2 piles of garbage. Look at them attentively. Which one might aliens want to steal? They will definitely go for the pile on the left. There's too much stuff made of iron in the right pile, but aliens are after plastic, so pile on the left it is. Detective Morris decided to catch the aliens red-handed. In an hour or so, the man noticed a spaceship landing not far from the piles of trash. An alien climbed out of the spaceship and transported the pile that contained plastic into the ship. Detective Morris was shocked, but there was no time for panicking. A small door was open in the side of the spaceship. He sneaked inside. He only had some time to look around when a siren started blaring. Oh no! Are they gonna take off? The man rushed back to the door, but it was already locked. Luckily, Morris noticed a math equation on the door. It looked as if it was made out of matchsticks. 5 + 7 = 2. But the answer was wrong. By trial and error, the detective understood he could only move one matchstick to make the equation correct. How can he do it? Detective Morris moved this matchstick and got 9 - 7 = 2. The door opened, and the man ran for his life. But the main question remained unanswered. Why did aliens need our plastic? Write your ideas in the comments below. Now look at these animals on the screen. A cat, a camel, a cheetah, a chicken, a crocodile, and a pig. Which animal doesn't belong here? The pig is the odd one out. It's the only animal whose name doesn't start with the letter C. Did you get it? Nice job! Look at these 6 glasses. The first 3 are filled with water, while the other 3 are empty. How can you arrange them so that they alternate in a full empty full pattern if you can only move one glass? Pick up the second glass and pour the water into the 5th one. Here you go. Now you have 7 guests at your birthday party. And your task is to figure out how to divide your very round birthday cake into 8 equal pieces by making only 3 cuts. First of all, you need to cut your cake vertically in the middle of the cake to divide it into 2 equal pieces. Repeat the same process, but this time, make a horizontal cut. Now you've got 4 slices. And the final 3rd cut should go laterally across the cake. Voila! You've got 8 equal slices. Look at these bottom lines and try to figure out which of them is the continuation of the top one. It's this line on the left, see? You've been kidnapped by an insane scientist who's going to test his new protective cream on you. After covering you with this lotion, which you absolutely don't trust, he offers you to choose one of the 3 containers he'll then throw you in. One of the containers is filled with radioactive waste. In the second container, there is an acid that can eat even through metal. And the third one is filled with lava from the largest volcano on Earth that erupted a year ago. Which container should you choose? Pick the container with lava. If the volcano erupted a year ago, the lava must be already solid. Look at these prisoners. Can you figure out who came from the future? It's the guy in the middle. Unlike the other 2 men who are dressed like people were in the past, he's wearing modern clothes and cool sneakers. A terrible virus broke free from a laboratory, and now all animals and plants on Earth are mutating at a horrifying speed. You've been trying to find the solution, but instead got trapped in the laboratory where it had all started. There are 3 doors you can escape through, but behind the first one, there is a bunch of aggressive flesh-eating cacti. The second door hides hundreds of venomous bees, and the third door prevents an attack of fire-spitting dragon-like monsters. Which door can lead you to freedom? You can get out of there alive if you choose the first door. Even though the cacti eat flesh, they're still plants and can't move, so you can easily get around them. You're trapped in a room that's steadily getting filled with water coming from a tap in the wall. There are no windows in the room and the door is blocked. You have a mop and a big bucket. What can you do to survive? Yep, you don't have any options in this riddle, so think of your own way to get out of this situation. Your chances to stay alive are much higher than you might think. Just turn off the tap. Nathan came to visit his friend Zachary, who worked in a museum. Look what I've got. A priceless manuscript that was written more than 1,000 years ago. Zachary looked through the manuscript and realized his friend had been fooled. Does anything in this text strike you as strange? King Alfred V ruled the country from 1290 to 1320 before Common Era. If we talk about the dates before the Common Era, they should be in reverse order. The original text would read, King Alfred V ruled the country from 1320 to 1290 before Common Era. A villain has caught you, and now he lets you choose in which cage he will keep you. You can get out of the cage only through the lid in its ceiling. But on top of the first cage, there is a nest of venomous snakes. Boiling water is on top of the second cage. And on top of the third cage, there is a hungry lion. Which cage should you pick to be able to escape when the villain falls asleep? Choose the second cage because the water will eventually evaporate, and you'll get out of the cage without problems. You're locked in a small room without windows and just one door. To get out of there, you need to crack this riddle. 1, 2, 3 equals 5, 3, 2, 1 equals 9, 2, 1, 1 equals 4, 1, 1, 2 equals 3, 1, 3, 2 equals... How fast can you get out of the locked room? The answer lies in the addition of the second and third digits, and the multiplication of the sum by the first digit. Let's take the first equation. 1, 2, 3 equals 5, 2 plus 3 equals 5. 1 times 5 is 5, let's make sure. 3, 2, 1 equals 9. 2 plus 1 equals 3, 3 times 3 is 9. Then the answer we need is again 5. 3 plus 2 equals 5, 1 times 5 is 5. Now, let's check if you can think outside the box. A few rebus puzzles will do the job. Try to figure out this one. Way, progress. It means progress underway. How about this one? Noon. Good. It's good afternoon. Pay attention to the arrangement of the letters. C, L, E, A, N. Do you think you can figure it out? It means clean up. What word or phrase can you see here? Give, 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 give. It stands for forgive. Concentrate. I believe you can crack this puzzle. 1N, 3N, 5N, 7N. This rebus hides odds and ends. Try to figure out this one. Stay 4NCE. It's for instance. Great job! Mr. Carter, a rich man who collected antiques, asked Detective Morris to visit him. When the detective arrived, the collector said, "I've just got a precious statuette, but I need to go away on business for a week, and I'm afraid someone will break into my house." Of course, the statuette is insured, but still. Detective Morris had some other urgent things to do, but he promised to come back in the evening to figure out the solution. But when he arrived several hours later, Mr. Carter was in despair. I drove my sister to the doctor and was away for an hour or so. But when I came back, the statuette was gone. Detective Morris didn't believe the collector. Why? When he left the house in the afternoon, he noticed an apple lying in front of the left part of the gate. It's still there. But for a car to drive through, both parts of the gate have to be open. This means that Mr. Carter lied about leaving his home by car. Several gold bullion bars were stolen from a bank. The police had a few suspects. But when they arrived at the main suspect's house, they realized they had forgotten to bring a warrant. The man told them he wasn't going to allow them to search his house. "Come back with the warrant and we'll talk." An hour later, the police officers came back with the needed documents. They thoroughly searched the house and the garden, but didn't find the gold. Suddenly, one of the officers exclaimed, "I know where he hid the gold. Have you figured it out too?" The gold is in the swimming pool. When the police visited the man for the first time, the level of water in it was much lower. A very famous painting disappeared from a museum. Later, the police managed to find it. But there was a problem. They found not one, but 3 paintings. Only one of them is original. The others are just copies. Can you help the police figure out which the original painting is? It's the one with the brown frame. Take a look. All frames in the museum are made in the same style. You've got accepted to the best school of witchcraft and wizardry. One of the classes you have to attend is about transforming into animals. There are 3 professors who teach this class. Each of them specializes in transforming into a certain animal. Look at your professors and try to figure out what kind of animal each of them turns into. Have you noticed that the first professor has a forked tongue? He must transform into a snake. The second professor has a lion's tail. It must be the animal she transforms into. And the third professor has bear claws. He must turn into a grizzly bear. Hey, my dear Brightsiders. I've got a nice riddle challenge for you. I know you've been waiting. Set everything you've been doing aside. Your detective skills are needed. Long ago, an evil witch kidnapped 3 married women and turned them into rose bushes. One of the women, who had children, begged the witch to let her see her family, and the witch agreed. She took the woman to her home for one night and turned her back into a rose bush the next morning. The witch had no idea the woman's husband had followed her back because he wanted to save his wife. He looked at 3 identical rose bushes and suddenly realized which one was his wife. How? The rose bush his wife had been turned into didn't have any night dew on the leaves. A woman called the police to report that her grandmother's ring had been stolen. When a detective came to her house, she saw shards of broken glass on the ground and dirty footprints. But instead of looking for the thief, she arrested the woman who had made the call. Why? If someone had indeed broken into the house, the shards of glass would have been inside the house, not outside. As for the window, it was broken from the inside, most likely to stage the robbery. A man called his wife from the office and said he would be home by 8. He arrived home at 2 minutes past 8, but his wife was very angry because of his late arrival. Why? The wife thought the man would be home by 8 p.m., but he came home at 8:02 a.m. A small shop in New York is called 7 Bells, but there are 8 bells hanging outside. The store owner can easily correct this mistake, but chooses not to. Why? Initially, this was indeed just a mistake. But over time, the store owner noticed that people often came inside to point out the inconsistency, and this started to increase his sales. A queen had a bowl of golden apples, which were her most treasured possession. One day, one of the apples went missing.
Oh no!
She gathered all the members of the court in the throne room and told them she knew how to find the thief. Each of them had to touch a rusty pot with a rooster inside while the lights were off. The rooster would crow when the criminal touched the pot. Strangely, the rooster didn't crow throughout the whole procedure. Despite this, the queen knew who had stolen the apple. How did she figure it out? By touching the pot, the members of the court ended up with rust on their hands. But the thief was too scared to touch the pot in case the rooster crowed, so they didn't have any rust on their hands. A rich man named James Leonard was attacked in his house on a Sunday afternoon. These people were in the house at that time: the maid, the cook, the butler, the gardener, and James's wife. They gave the following statements. The maid said, "I was laying the table." The cook told the police, "I was cooking breakfast." The butler said, "I was polishing silverware and dishes." The gardener added, "I was planting tomato seeds." And the wife said, "I was reading a book." So, who attacked Mr. Leonard? It was the cook. You don't cook breakfast in the afternoon? Dennis is a talented architect. He's designed a unique skyscraper, and the construction works were about to start. His boss asked the guy to show around a group of specialists from a competitor company. The only condition was that they weren't allowed to take any photos. Dennis did as he was told, but when the group was going to leave, he asked the security to detain one man. The architect claimed he had been taking photos during the tour around the site. How did he understand it? The man was carrying an umbrella. He kept pointing it at different objects, asking lots of questions, but the sky was cloudless. What did he need the umbrella for? A camera must be hidden there. 2 men are going to fill their watering cans with water from the river. Who will bring more water? The spout of the older man's watering can is situated lower than the spout of the other man's can. and the level of water can't be higher than the spout. It means the younger man will bring more water. Mrs. Smith claims that her neighbor, Mrs. Miller, has stolen her laundry. The woman says she hung the laundry in her backyard at 10 a.m. And when she went out of the house 2 hours later, she saw Mrs. Miller putting it in her bag. "I didn't do this. It's a lie," the other woman replied angrily. The detective investigating this case asks Mrs. Smith to go to the police station for trying to slander her neighbor. How has he figured out that Mrs. Smith is lying? It's freezing outside, and there's snow on the roofs. In 2 hours, damp laundry would be so frozen it'd be impossible to fold it and put it in a bag. Look at this group of people and try to figure out who the man's wife is. It's the woman in purple. Both she and the biker are wearing matching wedding rings. Detective Morris decided to have a meal at a cafe, but as he came closer, he saw a crying lady. "I was going to cross the road when some woman grabbed my purse and disappeared. I noticed her entering this cafe. Can you help me get my things back?" The detective entered the cafe. "Ah, that's my purse, right between those two women, but I can't recognize the one who took it. I didn't have enough time to look at her attentively." Morris didn't need much time to figure out which woman was guilty. It's the one on the right. The woman on the left has her left arm in a cast. If she had taken the purse, she'd have put it on the right side of herself. Joan took part in an experiment testing her logical thinking and analytical skills. The girl was locked in a small room. The door was supposed to open automatically once she figured out the riddle written on a piece of paper. Which principle is this sequence based on? 85491763320. The numbers are lined up based on the alphabetical order of the first and second letters of their names. 8, 5, 4, 9, and so on. Hannah called her friend, Detective Evelyn Marks, and asked her to come as soon as possible. While the woman was away walking with her dog, someone got into her house and stole her laptop. Hannah was sure it was her neighbor Jeremy. Evelyn went to question the man, but he wasn't at home. She decided to wait for him in her car since it was raining. Soon, she saw Jeremy opening his entrance door. "I went fishing early in the morning. Don't you see that I've just come back?" But the detective didn't believe Jeremy and took him to the police station. Why? The guy is wearing white sneakers, but it's been raining since early morning. If he was out fishing, how can his shoes look so clean? Detective Taylor was chasing a dangerous criminal. Suddenly, the man entered a hospital, but there must be hundreds of rooms there. Luckily, it was raining, and the criminal left footprints on the floor. The detective followed them and got into a small room. There were 3 people there. All of them were covered in bandages from head to toe. But one of them was a fake patient. Who? It's the man in the middle. He doesn't have a medical chart next to his bed. Look at these pretty fish. One of them is different from the rest. Which one is it? This one in the middle. Its eyes are slightly bigger than those of the others. On a cold winter day, a man was standing in front of someone's house. He didn't move or say anything until the spring, and the owner didn't mind. Who was this man? It was a snowman. During one of his experiments, a crazy scientist gives a group of people 2 pills, one safe and one poisoned, with some water to wash it down. They can choose one of the pills, so their chances are 50-50. Strangely, all people get poisoned and have to be rushed to a hospital. Can they all be so unlucky? All the pills were okay. The poison was in the water. The following riddles will put your attention and quick thinking to the test. Look at this rebus riddle, Mill and Lion. Can you figure out what it means? It's 1 in a million. Now we've got this image. It's filled with room. Can you find the odd word? Yep, there's a boom among all those rooms. James is carrying a barrel that weighs 60 pounds. What can the guy add to it to make it weigh 40 pounds? All James needs to add is a hole. Find the number that doesn't belong here. Right you are. 280 is different from all these 208s. Can you figure out what's wrong in this picture? Roses don't grow on the seafloor. The same picture, but the mistake is different this time. Spiders don't live underwater. But then, where did this spider web come from? How can you pop a balloon with a knife without it bursting or losing air in the process? Deflate the balloon first. Only after that, stick the knife through it. How can you take one from 19 and get 20? You can easily do it if you use Roman numerals. See for yourself. 14 minus I equals sign x sec. Adam added 6 to 11 and got 5. And it was the correct answer. How is it possible? It's correct if we talk about time. It's 11 a.m. If you add 6 hours, it'll be 5 p.m. It took a witch 8 years to finish digging the deepest well in the world. Every next year, she managed to double its depth. How many years did it take the well to reach half of its maximum depth? Seven years. If the witch doubled the well's depth every year, it had to be half its final depth the year before it was completed. You need to get into your rival's computer, but it's password protected. The only hint you have is a note you found hidden under the keyboard. 1 mouse, 3 books, 2 boards, 1 knight, 4 balls, 2 lighters, 1 girl, 1 hall, 3 watches. Can you figure out what the password is? It's moonlight. The number in front of each word refers to the corresponding letter of this word. A treasure hunter finds a chest filled with gold and jewelry in a cave on a distant island. There are 3 keys next to the chest: red, blue, and gold. Only one of them can open the chest, and the treasure hunter has only one attempt to choose the right key. On the wall, he sees a bizarre inscription. TGK, Ho, Ili, Den. Can it help him pick the correct key? The man should choose the gold key. If he rearranges the letters in the inscription, he'll get the golden key. 3 men were swimming in the sea. The weather was getting worse. and a Coast Guard asked them to leave the water. But when they got back to the shore, only 2 of the men had wet hair. Why? The 3rd man was bald.
Jake is on the first ever solo mission to outer space on the KK-5X spaceship. Everything is ready for takeoff.
3, 2, 1.
And there he goes! He's cruising in space when, the rocket engine starts to break down. Fortunately, Jake is a very good pilot, so he manages to dock the spaceship on the moon. As soon as he lands, he tries to call NASA's Earth base, but the communication systems are all broken. That's when he realizes that he's stuck on the moon and has no way of letting people know about it. Jake opens the emergency kit, and that's when he has a surreal idea. He decides to make a bonfire on the moon's surface using the special long-lasting wood NASA sent him. His hope is that people on Earth will see that he needs help, but his plan doesn't work out. Days go by, and no one answers his distress signal. Take a look at the image. Can you figure out why people on Earth keep ignoring Jake's cry for help? That's simple, because Earthlings can only see one side of the moon. And unfortunately, Jake landed on the dark side of our satellite, so no one can see him. Poor Jake. The crew on board the SST-9 space shuttle is made up of 7 people. After a long day of work, they're having an argument about which space body a person can jump the highest on. Each astronaut has their own guess, so they decide to test it out. Each person takes their own space vehicle and flies to the place of their choice. Billy flies to Mercury, Emily flies to Venus, Richard goes to Saturn, Becca goes to Europa, Ivan goes to Mars, Sasha goes to our Earth's moon, and Brian goes to Pluto. Can you guess which person will jump the highest? The key to answering this riddle is gravity. The spatial body with the smallest gravity will allow the astronaut to jump the highest. Oh, and one more thing. The planet needs to have a surface. Otherwise, no jumping will be possible. So Brian will win the belt. Pluto has the smallest gravity out of all the spatial bodies involved. It's a typical morning in a colony on Mars. Astronauts are at their workstation trying to figure out the exact date when water existed in liquid form on Mars. The chief of the mission, Dr. Buggers, opens a refrigerating chamber to get an important sample when he notices that a sample is gone.
It was here 2 hours ago. How could it have disappeared?
He shouts. Nobody has entered or left the lab in the last 2 hours, so it must have been one of the people inside the lab that did it. Dr. Buggers decides to investigate the case himself. Cassie says that she has spent the last 2 hours next to the microscope trying to figure out the genetic pattern of the sample they found last week. Rosie claims that she spent the last few hours in the napping room because she pulled an all-nighter last night. Cam says he's been doing repair work on the Freedom Lander that broke down the previous week. He's been trying to fix the vehicle's motor. After interviewing them all, Dr. Bugger realizes who took the samples. Can you figure it out too? It was Cam. He said he'd spent the entire morning fixing a vehicle, but take a look at his hands. His hands should be dirty, but they're super clean. There's no way he had time to wash all that grease off. Amy spent months preparing for a space trip that was supposed to take her outside of the solar system. She was the first human ever to attempt this feat. Amazingly, she managed to leave the solar system and land on an unidentified planet in an unknown galaxy. She began to explore the city and its citizens. Locals were smiling and taking pictures of her. Suddenly, she felt the need to go to the restroom. She saw 2 doors supposedly leading to the ladies' and gentlemen's bathrooms and got confused. She didn't speak the local language and couldn't ask which door was for men and which was for women. Thankfully, she met a local guide, Bo. who could understand English. However, he could only speak his native language. What 2 questions should Amy ask to figure out the right door? She should point at one of the doors and ask, "Is this the women's restroom?" Then, she needs to remember Bo's reply and ask, "Am I a woman?" If Bo says the same word, the restroom Amy is pointing at must be for women. And if Bo says a different word, the restroom is for men. It's been 1,000 days since John left Earth and headed for Neptune. He still has a few months left before getting there, but he's just found out that he's running out of water. The next planet he's going to pass by is Jupiter. John opens his navigation system and checks which space body he can land on to try to refill his water supply. Take a look at John's options. Can you tell where he should stop to get some water? Let's see. The first stop that the navigation system shows John is Callisto, but there's no water there. The same goes for Amalthea. So, John's best option is to stop on Europa. Scientists have already confirmed there's liquid water there. Julia and Zach are the only crew members currently living at a space station on Saturn. Every morning, they get into different kinds of lively discussions. This morning, they're discussing which planet would be hotter to live on, Mercury or Venus. Julia says it's harder to live on Mercury since it's closer to the sun. But Zach says it would be harder to live on Venus because there are constant gas bursts in its atmosphere, not to mention tons of active volcanoes. Can you tell which one of them is correct? As much as this may come as a surprise, Zach is right. Venus is the hottest planet in the solar system. Venus's atmosphere traps heat inside, so temperatures get absurdly high there. Barnaby is a solo space ranger. He travels the universe in his own spaceship with no company other than his pet elephant. He wants to settle down for a while and wait while his elephant buddy grows older so that he can continue traveling. His friend needs to shower once a week, so Barnaby uses the lack of gravity to help him do that. He opens his spaceship's navigation system, and 3 different planets pop up: Saturn, Mars, and Jupiter. Can you help Barnaby choose the best planet to raise his pet elephant? He should pick the planet where gravity isn't too strong, right? So, he should pick Mars. This way, he'll have no trouble giving his elephant a proper bath.
Okay, listen up. Lenora and Luna are twin sisters and vampires. They love Twitter and pranks. Luna lies on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays, and Lenora lies on Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. On the remaining days, they only tell the truth. Today, to celebrate their 1147th birthday, Luna posts on Twitter, "I lied yesterday," and Lenora comments on her post, "Me too." What day was it? It was Thursday. Luna could say that she lied the day before on Monday or on Thursday, and Lenora on Thursday and Sunday. So for both, it could only be Thursday. Luna and Lenora love messing with humans. They go to a party to find someone delicious. All these guys are vampires, except one. Can you spot the human? Take a closer look at the guy in the middle. He's the only one who has the eyes of a normal human being. Get out. The guy's name is Billy. The sisters lure him into their house. They're in a good mood and decide to give him a choice. Billy can choose which of them would bite him first. Billy answers, and the sisters let him go. What did he say? He said, "Let the more beautiful sister bite me first." Smarty pants. Luna and Lenora have recently visited 2 vampire weddings. Here are 2 pictures. Can you guess which couple is more silly? The first wedding ceremony takes place in a castle, but it's daytime and the sun rays sneak into the room. Meanwhile, the second couple is having a wedding on the beach. They're under a tent, and the sun will soon set. So, the first couple is more silly. Luna and Lenora finally buy a piece of land and start building their dream castle. Luna has the necessary education and controls everything. One evening, she comes over to see how the construction is going. Oh no! Someone has broken an expensive stained glass window. Luna calls 3 workers and questions them. Bob says, "I received the window delivery in the morning and put it in the barn. Then I worked on the floors. I didn't approach it again." Gerald says, "I was hanging TVs that I bought from the store." And Xavier says, "I measured the house in order to make a staircase to the second floor." Who is lying? Gerald. According to his reply, he hung up the TVs, but the castle isn't even completed. Looks like he broke the window and decided to confuse Luna. Well, lucky Gerald. He gets fired instead of bit, and the remaining workers continue construction. Finally, they finish 2 rooms in the castle. Can you spot 5 differences between them? Here they are. There's a trap hidden in this room. Can you find it? It's hidden under this basket. Luna and Lenora are visiting an art workshop. Can you spot who's not from this planet, model or artist? It's the artist. Take a look at his work. He doesn't know how many hands human beings should have. Then they visit a pottery workshop and take these 2 pictures. Can you spot 3 differences between them? Here they are. Lenora dates a human, Dr. David. She goes to the hospital to visit him. Can you spot which one of these 3 doctors is David? The first guy is wearing a badge. His name is Tom. And the second guy is hiding a police badge, so he probably works undercover. Therefore, David is the third guy. David goes to the basement to get some spooky drinks for Lenora, but someone pushes him from behind and he faints. David wakes up in a weird room with 3 pills in his hand. He has to pass through 3 doors guarded by monsters. Which pill should he use to pass through each door? David should use the invisibility pill for the first door. If he flies, the vampire will turn into a bat and catch him. And the regeneration pill will heal the bite, but David will still become a vampire. As for the second door, he should use the ability to fly. If he becomes invisible, the werewolf will still smell him. Regeneration isn't helpful either, because he may still turn into a werewolf. He should use it for the third door, to make the body invulnerable before meeting a maniac. Meanwhile, Luna is visiting a vampire party. She spots an imposter among the guests right away. Can you find this person too? Only the fourth lady has a shadow, so she's not a vampire. At the party, Luna meets her old friend Glenda. Can you spot her husband? It's the third guy. They're wearing similar pearl earrings. The next evening, Luna is visiting their unfinished castle. She finds out that someone has stolen their expensive antique painting. Only 3 workers had access to this room. Luna questions all of them. Kyle says, "I was feeling sick yesterday, so I went home earlier. The painting was in its place." Bob said, "I was the last to leave yesterday and I locked all the doors in the building. I think this painting is cursed because Kyle got sick after staring at it." And Xavier says, "I just arrived from the architect with new building blueprints. I don't know who did it." Who stole the painting? Xavier. He cut the painting out of the frame, rolled it, and hid it among the blueprints. Lenora and David are shopping together. They choose some clothes and go to try them on. Can you spot what's wrong here? The mirror doesn't reflect properly. What about this picture? Anything odd? David is a human, but Lenora is a vampire. She shouldn't have any reflection. There's a loud quarrel taking place in a jewelry shop. The salesman calls the police and yells, "This customer stole my best emerald tiara." But the customer says, "No, I bought this cheap toy in a $1 shop 2 years ago." Who's lying? The customer. She's hiding another tiara in her hair. Lenora enters a cosmetics store. 3 stylists greet her and offer her free makeup. One of them is a criminal. Can you guess who? The First Lady. She has a pick lock in her makeup brush set. Meanwhile, Luna finds out that the land around their castle is haunted. Can you count the exact number of ghosts in this area? The correct number is 7. Luna goes to sleep and wakes up in a weird place. A creepy note says that Luna can pass through one of these 3 doors. There's a family of hungry lions waiting behind the first door. There's a desert full of snakes and scorpions behind the second door. And there's a creepy ancient vampire hiding behind the third door. Which door is more or less safe? Luna should use the third door. She's a vampire too, remember? Lenora and Luna finally move into their new castle. They hire a housemaid to clean the house, and she gets to work right away. Can you spot anything weird? Why would a cat need an electric charger? Luna wants to find a boyfriend, so she starts looking through dating apps. She finds Rick. Can you spot anything odd about him? His kettlebell has 0 weight. Okay, forget him. Luna gives up dating apps and goes on a speed date event for vampires only. There, she meets 3 nice guys. Each tells her a couple of facts about themselves. Olaf says, "I've just turned 5,000 years old and realized that I'm ready for a serious commitment." Vlad says, "I'm from a very ancient and rich vampire family. We have property all over the globe." And Lester says, "For many centuries I lived in Europe and promoted musicians and writers. Now I want to find a girlfriend and start a new chapter of my eternal life." Only one of them is trustworthy. Can you guess who? Olaf reflects in the mirror, therefore he's not a real vampire and his story is a lie. And Vlad is stealing the gold cutlery from the table. He's not a golden boy, but a gold digger. So Luna should choose Lester. And this is how love bites.